Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Red Line. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, in our last video, I know I did say that there isn't enough evidence to suggest that Trump was involved with Epstein, and that there was only enough evidence that suggested that he was aware of the girls. But I am prepared to eat my words because, as it turns out, I have had some time to comb through the Epstein files, and I can tell you that there's definitely enough evidence that suggests that not only was Trump aware of the Epstein inner circle pedophilic ring, but he likely was involved and to some extent may have funded Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the first piece of evidence, we're looking at an email between Jeffrey Epstein and somebody called Kathy Rumler. Now, she is a White House attorney, and she has worked under Trump. And basically, in this email, she is talking to Jeffrey Epstein. She's telling him there is definitely enough evidence for a principal case for impeachment, and simply there is no courage. Now, Jeffrey Epstein replies by saying that Trump's money was involved in something that went down as a billing for services rendered. There was an indictment and it was recorded as billing for services rendered. But the person who was billed was Trump. And it's not clear here what services Trump paid for. But Jeffrey Epstein is basically implying that the services that Trump paid for was illegal. And Trump tried to play it off as not being illegal because he was unaware of what happened when he, quote unquote, paid for it and only found out much later. And Kathy, on the other hand, is implying that it really doesn't matter if Trump's money was involved or not, because at the end of the day, he lied about his involvement and he failed to disclose information, and so that kind of just makes everything that he did illegal. So they're kind of just going back and forth, and then obviously Epstein says, I know how dirty Trump is, and he says, his words, my guess is that non-lawyers, New York business people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. So he's referring to himself as Trump's fixer. If you want to know what a fixer is, there's this movie called Olivia Pope, I believe. Basically it's basically a story about this young black female, maybe not so young, middle-aged black female who goes around covering up crimes for the president and basically paying off victims that he sexually assaulted, so on and so forth. And basically Epstein referring to himself as a fixer just reminds me of that movie. Now, another key piece of evidence we're going to look at is basically a statement, not really a statement, it's a whole book. But one of the victims of Epstein's came forward, and she claimed that Epstein ran his entire pedophilic ring as a pyramid scheme. So what that means is he paid the girls that he was molesting to bring other girls. So she claims that one girl in particular brought him anything from 20 to 40 girls, and he paid her $200 for every new girl that she brought to him. That is insane. And then these girls themselves, after molesting and or raping them, he paid them about $200 and $300 in addition. So it is insane because when you look at it, a lot of these girls that were involved were just, what I call vulnerable girls. They were young, they were teens. A lot of them came from unstable homes. Some of them were runaways. And this very outspoken victim, her name is Virginia. Jeffrey, she worked at Mar-a-Lago for Trump. She was a teen who was working at his company that was trafficked to him and to Jeffrey Epstein. And it's so horrible to think that you're a teenager, you're just trying to get ahead in life, you're trying to get a decent job, and these adults approach you and they take advantage of you in the worst way possible. I don't know what lies are being told to these girls, but here's a clip. I want to show you a clip of Trump talking about this young lady.
Returning from Scotland, President Trump offered more details about his falling out with Jeffrey Epstein.
We took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it, and I said stay the hell out of here.
Among those who Trump says was poached or stolen from Mar-a-Lago was one of Epstein's most outspoken victims, Virginia Giuffre.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her.
According to her family, Giuffre died by suicide earlier this year. But in a 2020 interview with Gayle King, she said it was Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who approached her at Trump's South Florida resort.
I finally got my life together for the first time off the streets, and I'm working at Mar-a-Lago. I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Ghislaine came up to me.
Giuffre called Maxwell the mastermind behind the sex trafficking operation.
She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious. She was evil.
Maxwell was convicted in 2021 of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls and is serving a 20-year prison term. On Tuesday, her lawyer notified a U.S. House panel she'd agreed to their request to sit for a deposition about Epstein. But she asked for the questions to be provided in advance and for congressional immunity. The House committee spokesperson said Maxwell will not be given immunity. For a second day in a row, Maxwell's defense lawyer also spoke openly about the possibility of a pardon for Maxwell, saying if she was given clemency by the president, she could speak immediately and fully to that House committee. The president has not ruled out the possibility of a pardon.
So basically, as you can see, this young lady was working, finally got her life back together. She's a teen runaway, and she was recruited by none other than Jeffrey Epstein's assistant and girlfriend. Now, obviously, the picture that you're looking at is a picture that was circulating originally in the 1990s. And this was back when Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were like best friends. Basically, the rumor behind this photo is that Trump paid Jeffrey Epstein $22,500 for the sale of for the purchase of a young female. And although both parties have come out to say this was just a joke, it was a novelty check. And Trump's PR team said it was, a long time ago, and they basically questioned the validity of the check. The lady whose face is blocked out in this photo claimed to have dated both Jeffrey Epstein and Trump himself. So, you're friends with someone for over a decade. Right? We know they did some business together in the past. We don't know what that business implies. Any money that moves between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein should be carefully looked at. I don't even care what the bill says, because in one of those emails, Jeffrey Epstein was saying that the indictment has it on record as bills paid for services rendered or whatever. What service is a so-called Jeffrey Epstein rendering that Trump is paying for, So, follow the money trail. That's what Candace always said, follow the money trail. So I'm going to keep digging, guys. I just Like and subscribe for more because I'm going to keep digging.